Bah, such a rare breed, but with such a common tongue. Your move, Maul. Kalimshan rules, dear. The first piece touched is the first piece moved. Then make the sacrifice useful. Guard your Mistra, or come for my Cyric. Oh dear, aren't we clumsy? Let me put these back in place. My, the Thescan double counter gambit. Vicious. Exactly what I would have done. Brava. Lovely work. I see I was right to make you the offer I did. You will consider it, won't you? You should be more careful who you listen to. Retreat begets regret. Always. They always do. You came close, though. All you needed was a dash more courage. You will remember that, won't you? When you consider my offer. What a lovely specimen she is. A blushing apple begging to be plucked. I noticed your little trick, by the way. You should trust Maul. She never asked for your god to interfere in the game. She might have won, you know. There was no need for your attempt at sabotage. The Thescan move suggestion was inspired. I had no idea you played. Don't I? Indeed. She might have won, you know. If you hadn't been so hell-bent on exposing my truer nature. She'd never take your word for it, not with my angelic complexion. Whose ever are. She might have won, you know, if you hadn't made her retreat. Look outside. There's no one else for her to run to. She cheated, of course, but that's half her charm. My favorite kind, ambition. Oh, I promise on every treasure I own. You've never dealt with a devil like me before. She might have won, you know, with a little push in the right direction. You underestimate my magnetism. She is lost. It's only a matter of time before the apple is plucked. Morality? No. The lesson is rather more about autonomy. Not some you zealous types know much of. She won. She has a taste for it now. She'll be the one who comes to me. Her victory was hollow, of course. Frankly, I expected better of you. Did Maul ask to have your god win the game for her? I can most certainly believe it. Hell is wherever I take it. I just call it hope, remember? But don't you worry about Maul. It goes without saying she still has the unconditional freedom to choose the only option she has left. Besides, I do enjoy being in this neighborhood again. It has such a rich history of abject tragedy. And tragedy, my friend, well, there's my bread and bloody butter. Come now, you'd have me tell you? Spoil all the fun? Suffice to say there's ambition, folly, and death aplenty. The rest, well, I'll let you uncover that yourself. To play the game, the vast Lanceboard of souls. Why spoil it? It's all out there, waiting to be discovered. You never know what you might find if you just dig a little deeper. All in good time, dear. But enough about my lesser pursuits. Why bother with trifles when I'm in the illustrious presence of my very favorite client? Tell me oh apple of my eye. How have you been? You don't have any gills to get green around yet, but you do look a little worse for wear in this light. All thumbs, rather, the way you've been stumbling about the place. But at least I can't say I'm not entertained. In fact, I'm quite confident you still have a few good days in you yet. Precious time to practice begging for my help with your bare knees in the dirt. I really am at my magnanimous best when people make an effort. Splendid. And yet, I have this picture in my head of you tossing and turning in the middle of the night, thinking strange things, dreaming strange dreams. And there's this little voice inside of you asking, is this my will, or is it the worm's? But you have no answer, and no way of knowing. The good thing is, though, there's only one little voice you really should listen to. Mine. Now, let's talk about you. I sense there's something you want to ask me. A proposal? If you're hoping to taste my blood, little vampling, think again. It burns hotter than wyvern whiskey. Really? Oh, such impatience. See you soon. I'd never think us allies, Paladin. Perish the thought. And the devil, too, if you'd be so kind. If you had any bargaining chips, they've all rather floated off into the astral plane. You're out of luck. Is there anything duller than a loyal dog? I much prefer a cat. Meow. Everyone does. But what I need, you do not have. And never will. Even if you had it, what in the 9 hells would you do with it? Think a little, Captain Voss. There is only one thing in this world that I desire. You do not have it, and you never will. Hush now, Voss. These guests may not know it yet, but they want the same thing that you do. And unlike you, they have something of value to offer in return. I'm glad you came. Not to my door, not yet, but to the final reckoning. One more thing before we begin, though. That was no party trick. Somebody's missing, can't you tell? That illithid you keep in your pocket can't hear us anymore. I gave you back your privacy by shutting that illithid in your pocket out of your mind. It can't hear us. I brought you here because I'm true to my word, and I can make all of this tadpole business go away, which means you and your lovely friends can remain blessedly free of tentacles. I'd ask you to be patient, but you've been patient enough. Now is the time to speak plain. Oh, come, it's the reason you're in this predicament. And I'm your only way out of it. Indulge me, and at least hear me out. I'll admit, you've impressed me. I wasn't sure you'd make it this far. But no matter how far you come, you're still on the road to ruin. A road that leads directly to a confrontation with the Elder Brain. At best, it will kill you, and everyone else in this city. At worst, it will assimilate you, and you won't have enough free will left to even wish you were dead. You have the key to destroying it in the palm of your hand, though. No, no, no. It has only helped to push you toward your own destruction. It wants you to be an illithid, the very thing you have sought to avoid. It is the illithid's prisoner that can save you, the Gith. In a manner of speaking, very perceptive. Yes. I can give you the means to break him free. I suppose you'd rather suck on the Emperor's tentacles till the end of your days? Orpheus is your only hope of surviving this horror show without devolving into an illithid. To illithids, yes, he would gladly execute the Emperor. To you, he will be a friend. After all, you're at war with an elder brain. I have seen all the torments of the hells in lurid detail. None compare to the image you just conjured. If I'd realized you were so gullible, I'd have tricked you into selling your soul for a pocketful of beans when we first met. No, Orpheus is the only reason you're still alive. The Emperor is abusing the Gith for its own ends. And it's doing the same to you. You're nothing more than the beast of burden that will transport it to the elder brain. An ox requires food, and the occasional beating to keep it moving. You are simpler. The Emperor's words serve as both carrot and stick. The Orphic hammer. An artifact capable of shattering the chains that hold Prince Orpheus is held securely in my House of Hope, even now. Such an eager little pup. Good and truth rarely go hand in hand, but in this case, they are happy bedfellows, and we can be too. I swear to you, I have the solution to your problem. Isn't it just? And it's even more convenient that you can give me exactly what I want in return. You really do think highly of yourself. My sights are set on something much more valuable than your soul. Succulent, though it would be. Surely you realize there is an exchange to be made. You scratch my back, I scratch your parasite. Power. You free Orpheus, and in doing so save the city, the Sword Coast, perhaps the whole world, and your own precious skin too. And you give me the crown that dominates the elder brain. I won't stop you. But time is running out, so don't stay away for long. If you see reason, I'll be here, waiting, right up to the moment the world ends. I'm not asking you to bargain. I'm asking you to save your soul. I want the crown that dominates the elder brain. Better to have it in my hands, and far from your precious world, than in the hands of the gods and monsters that fight over this city's soul. Then you will die, along with every other soul in this city. You'll turn on each other before this is done. Mark my words. Power. Ancient and full of wonder. I have craved it ever since the arch-wizard Carsus created it, long centuries ago, and brought doom to the Empire of Netheril. That was the great age of humanity, and Netheril's flying sky cities were the apex of civilization. I was there the day it all fell apart. Entire cities plummeted from the sky like angels with broken wings. The screams, oh, the screams. Hundreds of thousands of people watching in horror as the ground came up to meet them. It was not a happy meeting, and Casus was responsible. Not driven by malice, but by ambition. He forged a crown imbued with all the powers of magic, a crown that would make any who wore it a god. Men cannot contain so much power. The crown destroyed its creator, and his empire fell with him. Casus's folly, the bards and scholars call it. I call it hope. The hope of creating a better world, and the perils of unchecked hubris. I knew then that the folly of mortals could be the triumph of devils, and that I could use that crown to unite the Nine under one Archdevil Supreme. Me. You're too kind, and extremely insightful. Oh, I'm sorry, you were serious? The crown has laid low all who attempt to harness its power. Archwizards, emperors, gods. It would tear you apart. The hells require order to function. It is what separates us from mortals and demons. With the crown, I would impose perfect order, unity, efficiency, control. My kingdom would control its borders and stay within them. I am no mortal, and I do not fail. Hidden. It was stolen from right under my nose all those centuries ago. The archdevil Mephistopheles snatched up the crown and squirreled it away in one of his vaults. He is not more than a frigid archivist. So much power and potential kept inert. He made a miracle into a museum piece. I raged. But only for a decade or so. Then I waited, ever watching for more than 1,000 years, for a mistake, a mishap, a misadventure. And these chosen, who have caused you so much trouble accidentally, did me a favor. They brought the crown back into play. Yes, it does. Especially when I see what a bloody mess they've made of their whole scheme. They must have raided Mephistopheles' vault. Impressive, I must admit. But they'll be dead soon. If you don't kill them, the Elder Brain will. It doesn't have feelings in the way you'd understand them. But it seems rather angry. It is inevitable. When you destroy the brain, and you will because you must, the crown will be yours for the taking. And when that moment comes, you give the crown to me. In exchange, I give you the hammer now. How short-sighted. Much better to put it into the right hands, hands that will ensure it is removed from this world. And it's the only way you can ensure that you remain part of this world. It is inevitable. When you destroy the brain, and you will because you must, the crown will be yours for the taking. And when that moment comes, you give the crown to me. In exchange, I give you the hammer now, right here. You'll find everything is in order. The moment I have your signature, you will have the means to free Orpheus. The hammer. You guarantee the crown will be mine once the brain is defeated, and I swear that I will never use the crown to dominate a mortal. I will come to collect, If you refuse to give me the crown, I collect your souls instead. And then we all gather in the House of Hope. Me dressed in my finest silks, you skinless, hanging from a hook to watch as your world dies. Perfect! One more rhyme, for old time's sake. The master was slain within his own house. They dined on him both, the cat and the mouse. The hammer is yours. You will find yourself in Orpheus's presence before the end comes. When you do, shatter the chains that hold him. Be sure to keep the hammer safe until then. Your survival depends on it. And I'll keep your contract safe in my House of Hope. I'll be seeing you, and when I do, we dine. My favorite future clients. Are you ready to accept my kind offer? Of course. I give you the Orphic hammer, the means by which Prince Orpheus of the Githyanki can be freed from his chains. You give me the crown once you have destroyed the Elder Brain. Still holding out hope for another solution. I'll wait. You'll be back. Excellent, excellent. You'll find everything is in order. And this agreement will bring us both what we want. You'll save the world. I'll unite the Hells. And the Illithids will be eradicated. A pleasure doing business with you. Before the end comes, you'll find yourself in his presence again. When that happens, use the hammer to shatter the chains that hold him. Be sure to keep the hammer safe until then. Your survival depends on it. And our deal depends on your contract. I'll keep it safe for you in my House of Hope. But of course, I could never allow such a festering pustule of a city to die. It's an object lesson in mortal excess. You certainly came out on top, didn't you? But I'm more than happy to take a slight loss on this particular transaction. I like you. Now, I have business elsewhere. But rest assured, we'll talk again.